talking about creativity for a cause. So my name is Ken DeGilio. I teach in the Entertainment Business Master's program. And I have a former student, Rebecca Kane, who's now with Heart of United Way. And so I welcome you. This is Creativity for a Cause. So first with Rebecca's bio. And why don't we bring everybody up if we could? Yes? No? There, we can see you now. So I'm just going to read a few words and then turn it over to Rebecca so she can introduce the rest of the crew. So we have, Rebecca is currently serving as Corporate Engagement Manager for the Heart of United Way. And if you didn't know, the United Way is the largest nonprofit in the United States. They specialize in investing in local nonprofits, delivering programs to the community, and convening with legislative and community leaders during natural disasters and crisis intervention. Rebecca manages a fundraising portfolio of corporate partnerships with an excess of $1.2 million in revenue. Rebecca's passion for United's Way mission springs from her own childhood, where she was a recipient of the programs from the United Way. From her educational background, Rebecca has a BS in Technical Theater from Utah Valley University, and of course the MS in Entertainment Business.
2012?
A in my class. From 2012. She's worked on numerous entertainment projects, from NBC's hit series America's Got Talent Season 7 to working under the direction of Emmy Award-winning producer Don Shane of the major motion film entitled Haunt, showcased on Netflix. Yeah. All right, so here you go. Everybody give a round of applause, a warm round of applause for everybody that is here today, and including Rebecca.
Hey, Full Sail. Hi, guys. Come on. Oh, come on. You can do better than that. Hey, Full Sail. Yeah, hey. So I am so excited to be here. In fact, this is like one of my bucket list items. And I remember sitting in your spot 7 years ago. Wow, I feel really old. So I am just really humbled to kind of give back as an alum and to kind of talk to you a little bit about how I've been able to transpire my career from the entertainment world into the world of philanthropy. And I know you're probably thinking, whoa, I've never thought about philanthropy. This isn't something that is kind of on the top of my list that I want to do. But to be honest with you, I've worked with quite a few celebrities, and most of the bigger name celebrities that I've worked with have been through philanthropic efforts. So it's like a hidden area in which you could maybe pursue your career. So as Cassie and I, who's also one of my old professors, as we were talking and we were networking, we started to kind of collaborate and say, hey, you know, Rebecca, you work with United Way. United Way brings together other nonprofit organizations. And she said, let's get together and bring you guys in and let's talk about how the entertainment world can transpire into the world of philanthropy. And not only that, but technology is becoming so relevant in this world that philanthropy is changing to model that. And sometimes we're the last ones to utilize that. So we really need your skill set, okay? So as we do this panel today and we talk a little bit about some of those things that we could maybe benefit from you with your skill set, think as you are in your roles, whether it's film, whether it's entertainment business, whether it's content creation, storytelling, and brand development, think about how maybe this could be a potential career for you. And that's really the purpose of today. We just want to have a fun discussion and talk about that. So with further ado, let's move forward. So I'm going to introduce our panel, and I want to start off with one of my very dear friends, Sean. Sean has worked in the nonprofit sector for 10 years and has built a career working for health-related causes and missions. Sean currently serves as a director of development for Give Kids the World, which is an 84-acre nonprofit resort in Central Florida that provides week-long, cost-free vacations to children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. In this role, Sean focuses on new business development, individual giving, and strategic partnerships for the village. So let's welcome Sean. All right. Next up, we have Jane. Jane Newman is the Vice President and Chief Marketing and Development Officer at Lighthouse of Central Florida, the area's only comprehensive provider of vision rehabilitation services to children and adults with blindness and visual impairments. And Lighthouse Works, woo! A social enterprise employing persons who are blind and visually impaired in a competitive jobs. Lighthouse empowers children to be successful in schools, adults to maintain competitive employment, and seniors to safely and confidently live independently beyond vision loss. As a marketing and communications professional with more than 35 years of experience, Jane has owned and managed businesses in Central Florida. Her career spans work in the nonprofit, professional associations, and corporate channels, serving local, national, and international clients. Jane has served on several nonprofit boards, including Second Harvest Food Bank and City of Winter Park Public Housing Authority. So let's welcome Jane. All right. And next up is our very own Rachel Christian. She was actually one of my career development advisors when I was here as a student, so it's great to have her back. Rachel is the Director of Organizational Development and Culture at Clean the World, where she drives the foundations of culture, develops training courses for leadership teams, and is on several of the internal committee pods, such as events, wellness, and Going Green. She's also created the Clean the World internship program, which builds and establishes relationships with universities by providing learning opportunities for career development of college students and recent graduates. Interns contribute to the ongoing mission of the hygiene revolution. Rachel has helped mobilize companies such as the Los Angeles Film School. Rachel's organizing an Off the Page LLC to better lead organizational cultures in a time of increasingly rapid change. She is experiencing working with cross-functional teams and has led key initiatives from concept to conclusion on time and on budget. As a result, Rachel has been recognized in her field as an expert in the interpersonal communications and organizational development. Rachel holds a Master's of Science in Entertainment Business and a Bachelor of Science in Media Communications from Full Sail University. Yeah! Her education has supported the foundation for her lifelong desire to motivate and help people. Known for her vigor and passion for the arts, Rachel has additional experience that spans more than 25 years in the entertainment industry. Rachel is a professional singer and has been a voiceover artist as well as an actor for TV pilots, national commercials, theaters, and films. So let's hear it for Rachel. People for a hungry-free world. From working with college students through various conferences and programs to managing volunteer events across the country, Megan always had one constant vision and goal, and that was to help create moments and opportunities that lead to life change. So there's our panel. Let's give them all another round of applause. All right, so we're gonna get started today. I think I would love to start off with Lighthouse, actually. With Full Sail being one of the top universities as far as technology and leading that technology, how important is the use of technology in the success of your organization's mission?
Well, it's successful two ways. One is you can imagine technology advances are very, very helpful and supportive for someone who does not have vision or does not have complete vision. It doesn't take away, there's still accommodations to be made, but even the universally accessible technology like smart home devices and such are obviously changing the world. It's also a great career path potentially for children and teenagers and young adults who want to move forward in a higher paying skill set. The accommodations are relatively simple: screen reading technology and magnification. And according to Microsoft, Google, Apple, and the other big players, these accommodations will be completely universal within 3 years, which means no special additional software costs and such. But it's not just a career, it's also a quality of life, which is really, really important. But from the standpoint of how technology plays in, it's also an opportunity from the standpoint of philanthropy, marketing, and communications, because the way we do those things today is very different than the way we did them in 1985. So you can take those technology skill sets and turn them into a communications career, a marketing career, a development or philanthropy career and a sales career, because I will tell you every aspect of my job, and I'm over all 4 of those areas, if I don't have technically proficient individuals in those roles, we won't be successful.
Absolutely, that was great. In fact, one of the things that is really just interesting to me with the world of philanthropy and just the world in general is how many more events or impact moments or impact models that we have to utilize immersive experiences. And that's really what Full Sail is about, is immersing their guests, immersing their clients or their audience members into an impact moment. And so could you tell us a little bit about the amazing event that you guys do at Lighthouse that really immerses your guests?
Dining in the Dark. We have been presenting Dining in the Dark experience for about 5 years now. Our guests are in complete darkness. If you could imagine turning off every single light in this room, including the exit lights, any small point lights, it is literally the darkest you could ever imagine. And the servers of your meals are the Orlando Police Department SWAT team wearing their night vision goggles. They let me try them on in June when we had our event. It was brighter than daylight. It was so amazing what you can see with the newest technology. But the experience is not to replicate what it's like to be blind, because the lights are going to come back on at the end of the dinner. But it's to really just give you that opportunity to think about what would happen. Who's at your table? Can you imagine going to a networking event and you can't see who's across the room or who you'd like to talk to? It becomes very intimate because you have to touch each other to make sure as you're passing things that it doesn't fall on the floor. And it really just creates a new sense of how would I navigate in this space?
Have you ever had a guest spill anything on a very important or very, a legislative official or anything?
There have been some interesting accidents. But I think what really happens is you sort of have 2 directions. You have the people that really embrace it and say, this is amazing, and I really want to have this experience and get to know who's at the table and what's happening and think about the sounds and the smells. And then you have people that literally want to bolt the room.
Yeah.
It can be terrifying. It's very claustrophobic for some people, but we find it's powerful. We're actually launching a series, a sensory series, and I hope you all will consider coming to some, where it's everything from, say, a tequila or bourbon tasting under blindfold to a sound tour under blindfold at the Manello Museum of Art's outdoor sculpture garden. So we're really trying to make some accessible versions from the standpoint of financially accessible.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. In fact, there is a compassion bus. It's a project that's actually going around, and it travels throughout the United States. And it is they take a bus and they set it up wherever they stop, and they're able to allow their guests to put on headphones, and they get to walk through this bus, and it really transpires them over into Africa, and it pushes them into the initiative. And then by the time they get done walking through this bus, it really helps them want to give and really be a part of that impact. And so that's another way that you can use virtual reality, you can use the gaming techniques, and that's really how it's becoming immersive in this field. So I definitely agree with you. Thank you. All right, let's turn our time over to Megan with Feeding Children Everywhere. What is the most rewarding and challenging experience working for a global brand?
Yeah, rewarding for us as a global initiative, I would say, is the partners that we get to make and create. So we've distributed meals to over 53 countries across the world, but each year we have specific partners that we donate a significant amount of food to, right? And these are people that we have built relationships that food is a tool in order to further their impact, right? Which is so amazing. So for us, for example, we have a partner in Zambia, and Zambia is considered the nation of orphans, right? So the HIV/AIDS crisis wiped out a generation of adults. So it's thousands of kids. The average age is 16, and it's the largest institution there. And so they take in thousands of students every year, and every day they eat our meal, which is so cool. But in third world countries, a common question that families have to ask is, do you send your kids to school or do you send your kids to work, right? But here at this school, for every single day that they have they have perfect attendance. They also take our food home on the weekends. And so being able to not just be a part of making sure someone has the nutrition that they need to study, to learn, but you're providing that incentive to get kids into school, which is so cool. And so we've seen that in all of our partners, no matter where they are, that food is just one stop on the way. It's such a big part of furthering the impact. And then the challenge, I think, when you're looking at a wide lens, it can be very overwhelming. There's a lot to do, and it looks different everywhere. And so being able to adapt your programs and your ideas to who you're working with is huge. But for us, it's staying the course. It's looking at what we are doing, how we can continue to grow and develop new programs and initiatives that will further our impact the best we can.
That's amazing. That's amazing work. Can you tell us a little bit about, I've been noticing on social media, some of the fun partnerships that you guys have been having, and your CEO's been very busy. Can you tell us about some of those partnerships?
Yes, so currently he wanted to be here so badly today, but he's in Atlanta. We're in the process of, we are just doing a million meal event with the Atlanta Hawks this year, which is so exciting. Some of our partners are the AARP Foundation. We just did a project with the MLS All-Star Weekend last week, which was fun. Pittsburgh Steelers. We get to work with some of the best organizations and teams out there hosting events, which has been really cool. But social media has been a huge tool for us, especially, we get the opportunity to respond when a lot of crises happen, of natural disasters, different events. So when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, we were contracted by FEMA to package 4.4 million disaster relief kits that would be sent, right? And without social media, without intensive email campaigns, we couldn't recruit the volunteers that we need. And so that is a very constant thing on our social media of, here's ways that you can be involved, come volunteer with us. And without that, I think we had 54,000 volunteers come to that event for Hurricane Maria, which was amazing. But our social media is constantly highlighting some of our awesome partners, which is so cool, but inviting people in to be a part of the process too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, Rachel, let's jump to you.
Hi,
Woo!
how are you?
So I'm great. Rachel's with Clean the World. Tell us about your internship program and how that can be useful for some of the Full Sail students.
So my background at Full Sail is I worked here for 8 years, and I was in career development the entire time supporting the business students. And one of the reasons Clean the World had asked me to come over and join their team was because I had worked so closely with our students and graduates here, and they wanted me to expand those relationships with other educational facilities throughout Central Florida and then even beyond Florida going into other states. And so I basically went in and refurbished this internship program. We want to line out the door. We want to be the one that everybody's waiting to get into. And part of this process is giving you all the hands-on experience. As you know, with internships, that's where you gain your real life experience about what's happening in the industry. Obviously, through Full Sail, you're going to be gaining a lot more through your educational journey. But for us, it's more about making sure that you know the process of what we're doing when we're saving lives every day, and getting your hands in the mix and touching the soap and touching the lives of children all across the world. There's nothing like it. So I've been really fortunate to be able to help support this program and then rebrand it, rebuild it, and then make sure I get the right interns that are coming in from the right educational facilities. And obviously, I love Full Sail, and so y'all are first in line. So
Isn't her smile so cute? She gets so excited. Well, talking about that in your past with Full Sail, tell us how you have used your experience being a previous staff member and an alum, and how has that helped you in your current position?
So I have an entertainment background, so prior to Full Sail, I came from Universal Orlando, which is a really large organization, and I loved Universal, but one of the things that was lacking is I wasn't getting the one-on-one attention that I truly wanted from a company that was providing or giving something back to others. And so when Full Sail came along, the passion and the hope that I wanted was I get to work in career development with students and grads all the time. And so through that process, I became a Full Sail graduate, a two-time graduate. I stayed 8 years here with Full Sail in career development, as I mentioned. But what I learned here is that we have a culture of kindness. And so if you're working with your educational instructors and you've met Gary Jones, you know the heart and soul of this company, and you know what they can give back to our students and grads and what that turns out to be when you step out into the real world and you're working on your journey. So I learned quite a lot being here and miss it every day, but love that I've been able to take my education to the next level, just like you want to, and really use it out in the industry to support others to make exceptional change and do extraordinary things. So I'm so grateful to Full Sail. Love that I had the experience, and I love that they asked me to come back as an alumni. That's even better.
Well, and I have to second that. Being a graduate from this amazing institution, I cannot tell you, just from learning how to network, learning how to get up and speak in front of individuals. Definitely, some professors gave us some hard classes that we had to get up and do 10-page papers every other day and to present under pressure. This school is really, the education that we receive here is really what has pushed me in my career as well. So thank you for sharing that. So wonderful. All right, Sean, you're up. So with Give Kids the World, what is it like to work with some of the biggest entertainment companies in the world?
Yeah, it's fantastic. So Disney, Universal, SeaWorld are all founding partners of ours. We were founded in 1986, so they've been around for 32, 33 years working with us to create happiness that inspires hope for families from around the world, where we've had families from all 50 states, 76 countries. And what they have in common is they have a child with a life-threatening illness, and their wish is to come to Disney, Universal, SeaWorld. So at the center of it, they help make that wish possible. So every family that comes to Give Kids the World gets 3 days to Disney, 2 days at Universal, a day at SeaWorld. And then operationally, Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, many of our other partners as well, help us figure out how do we best utilize the 84 acres that we have to make it a completely immersive experience for their week so that they can have the time of their lives, really. So we have the world's largest Candyland game. Hasbro helped us build that, and it's a completely wheelchair accessible playground for the kids. And they are the pieces moving along a giant Candyland game board, so that's awesome to see. We have a dinosaur-themed miniature golf course that Universal helped us build. Disney, we're actually doing hard hat tours tomorrow of our new ice cream facility. It's going to be Henry's Starlight Scoops. We serve ice cream from 7:30 in the morning until 9:30 at night, so it's a week of yes for these kids.
I want ice cream at 7:30 in the morning. Hello.
So Disney Imagineers and Buena Vista Construction Company and Universal Creative and 15 other partners as well are all working on that project to make that ice cream facility cool for the kids. So it's going to be Henry's Starlight Scoops. It's space theme. It's going to have a giant flying saucer on it. So they help us with the mission, of course, operationally, and then as well, the employees become an extension of what we do. So they help in the theme parks and in their day-to-day make the experience great for the families. They also give back. Many of them volunteer. We have 1,700 volunteers a week that come to the village, and many are Universal, SeaWorld, Disney employees. So.
Very nice. Very, very interesting stuff happening down there on your campus. Wow. Yeah. Can you tell me, how do you utilize storytelling techniques to further your brand's awareness?
I think in general, nonprofit is storytelling. It's about telling the right story to the right person at the right time to help them connect in some way. So at Give Kids the World, we focus on give, serve, share. If you can give financially, serve in the 1,700 positions a week that we have available for volunteers, or just share our mission. So with the families, we make sure that they have pieces they can take home. For instance, when you come to Give Kids the World, every child puts their star up in our Castle of Miracles, and they get to put their name on it. And Stellar the Star Fairy is an experience they go through in the castle to find a place in the galaxy for their star. And then we find when they get home, they're sharing pictures of that star and constantly talking about experiences they had at the village. So we enable them to be able to share the experiences they had here and keep memories for a lifetime. And then with our partners as well, we work with them. For instance, we just did a show on Lifetime with Boston Market, who provides the food on site for the families. It was a 4-part miniseries about how their employees get involved and fundraise throughout the year for the village and how they get to come and interact with us. So we work storytelling to help our partners tell how they interact with us, and then also help our families be able to have a way to say, these are the organizations that helped give us the week of a lifetime in Central Florida.
Awesome. That's incredible work. Very fun. Oh, my word. So the next question is actually for me, because I'm included in the panel. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how I've been able to work with celebrities. I think that utilizing writers and how to do contract negotiation and working with these celebrities within the philanthropy world. So I have had a chance to do that. I worked at Universal Studios for a year, worked on Celebration of Harry Potter, and then I did some time at Walt Disney World working for Disney Institute and working with a lot of their executives and VIPs that were on staff. But working with celebrities in the world of philanthropy is something that is so unique in itself. One, they get to come in and you get to really have some one-on-one time with them, whether it's a VIP reception ahead of time with donors, or they get to come in and help with students and work through workshops. I think that's been something that's been so eye-opening for me. And to see these celebrities kind of unveil and get passionate behind impactful movements movements, if you will, has been something that's really lightened my passion, and it's been an incredible experience. So I just wanted to put that out there, that if you're thinking and maybe you want to be an artist manager, or you want to somehow get into the world of concerts. We do concert series for fundraising events. We really do get to have that one-on-one exposure. Some of the celebrities that I've had a chance to work with are Imagine Dragons. I've worked with Idina Menzel. I've worked with the whole cast of Harry Potter. So you can really have a fun career doing the business side of it in the world of philanthropy. So just wanted to kind of let you have that background. So next question is open up to any of you on the panel, so just kind of chime in wherever whenever you feel you want to talk about something. But I want to talk about the importance of networking. I think we hear that a lot in this institution, and we were told that throughout our educational journey here, that networking is so key for the success of who you are, the success of maybe your personal company, your brand, your friends, your other coworkers. So somebody chime in and let's talk about the power of networking.
Well, for myself, and many of you were probably not even born when I graduated from undergrad school, but I've been very fortunate through networking that I have never had to go through the traditional job application. I've never had to go on a website and be one of hundreds or thousands of people looking for that job. And part of that was I always made sure that everyone knew what I was doing, that I stayed in touch. It was different. Now it's a lot easier with social media and LinkedIn and all these other tools. Inviting people for coffee, keeping it personal. So then when I was ready to make that next leap, or if someone had that job available, they thought of me. And it really made a difference, and I think that I've been able, starting in the nonprofit world, I was able to move forward very, very quickly, because in a nonprofit space, they're gonna let you do more than they would in the typical corporate space. So you can show off and find what you're good at. So to give just a quick example, I started I'll say I had interned there, but my professional career at the Orlando Museum of Art. And I was there for about 5 years. I made a pretty good salary in the nonprofit world at that time. Through a phone call from someone who knew about me and what I was doing, I was made a job offer, and within a week, I had a position at Lake Nona making 3 times the same salary. And all it took was going to one dinner and having a good connection. And again, since that time, I've literally never had to make that traditional application. I've been invited to join a team, but it's taken a lot of personal connections, staying in touch, and the emphasis has to come from you, whether you can't just post on social media and leave it if you don't add that additional connection, because not everyone who's gonna hire you is 25 years old.
Wonderful. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I can think for us, in our world, we book a lot of events, right, with different clients or families or community groups, you name it. And it is so crazy to me to see the amount of events that come from one of our Uber drivers, or someone who saw our shirt in line at a grocery store and thought, what is that? And just from those small connections that you may think may not mean anything, could lead to something so huge. And to always see any interaction, no matter where you are or who it's with, whether it's your barista, Uber driver, someone, consider it valuable, because you never know what's on the other side of it.
Yeah, I can say, so one of the classes I used to facilitate here was a class I designed called No Fear Networking. So you may still have it on your platform. It might be running on YouTube. You can see it. But I broke down networking and really how to do it in 4 simple steps. But I think with history, the way things have changed, and you mentioned digital technology has really taken us to a whole new level. So I can tell you that it's great that you want to apply to websites, and I want to encourage through the career development department that you check those resumes and you look at your cover letter and you're building relationships through digital platforms. But most of the jobs I've gotten have been because I had a friend who worked at a company. So while I still had to go in and apply, I also had a friend on the other side. That may not always be the case, but the best thing you can do is to get yourself out there, make sure your online platforms are all up to date. I've had so many people come to me and say, oh, you shouldn't go to that website, that's old. Well, then you need to update it, because the only thing you're getting a chance to see right now is what you've put out there. So you want to make that best first impression. So moving forward, just know in this digital era, there's a million possibilities. But part of that is making friends, and if they don't know you exist, then you're never going to make those friends. So make sure you're out there shaking hands. It's not all about digital platforms. It's about the human element factor. And we tend to lose that when we talk about technology. So make sure you're giving people hugs. Make sure you're smiling. Make sure that you know that there's a human on the other side of a phone call, and let them know that you're here.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of your personal brand. Even starting now as a student, some of the most important connections you're going to make are right now in your classes. I still work with some of my my colleagues that were in my classes, and in fact, Sean and I actually met because we both sit on the YPAC board for Orlando Economic Partnerships. So that's the Young Professional Advisory Council, and I can't stress enough the importance of sitting on those boards and being a part of your community. Whether you're trying to fund a film, whether you are trying to get a venture capitalist, whether you are trying to get your own project off the ground, you can be sitting in the room with some of the biggest investors and donors and legislative members by sitting on some of these boards and having a strong personal brand. So I can't recommend that enough, that who you are right now is going to follow you the rest of your days. And really, yes, you're going to work for multiple companies, even work for yourself, but your personal brand is what's going to carry you through that. So I highly recommend just figuring out what that brand is, figuring out who you are professionally and where you want to go and what you stand for, and then representing that to the best of your ability throughout your career.
Yeah, I completely agree. And actually, that example holds for me too, because I actually interned with the Orlando Economic Partnership when I was in college, and now today I'm on a board as Rebecca said. So I think you never know what connection and how long it's going to last, and at what point it will come up again. Because a lot of those same people that I worked with as an intern still work there today, and we're able to talk about what I was involved with back then, and I'm involved in bigger ways now. So it's just about building relationships along the way.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so we'll move on to our next question. What is the biggest challenge in the world of philanthropy? Anyone can chime in and answer that. For us, it's funding. We're always looking for funding. So I'll just put that out there on the table.
For the size of Central Florida, the percentage of individuals who give philanthropically is very small compared to other communities. I think that because we're a younger community, this is my sense and from my family, that people like you in your age group and with what you're doing right now, you want a personal connection. You'd like to volunteer. You'd like to know that you have a personal and meaningful impact. And in an organization like Lighthouse Central Florida, it's very difficult to volunteer because we're Health and Human Services, we're HIPAA compliant, there's confidentiality, very expensive background checks. We can't just invite you in to come and do a task for us. So creating that personal connection and also being loyal and true and protective of our clientele can be challenging, but that's where we're trying to encourage more event participation. So now you can have some hands-on with the organization. But I think we're gonna see probably over the next 5 years that individual giving becomes more and more challenging. We're over-dependent on corporate and foundation support. So I hope that our new generation of givers, as you do go into the workplace, will keep a philanthropic mindset, not just with your time, which is highly, highly valuable, but also with your treasure, because it will make a difference. And there are many organizations in this community that we will probably not see thriving 5 years from now.
Anyone else want to add to that? Anybody else have any challenges?
Money. Money, said money. Yeah, it's very challenging. It's interesting too when people think about Clean the World. I'll have people say, I've never heard of Clean the World. Then I'll have people say, I love Clean the World. I love what you're doing. We've recycled over 50 million bars of soap to over 127 countries since 2009. I think we're a really huge organization. I think we are a large brand. But sometimes the people who haven't heard about us are the ones that I wish they'd hear more. So I have to go back to networking. When we go to our advisory board and we have conversations, they always ask, what can they do? And we always say, we need some more money. We need money to help continue supporting and helping people across the world. So as you are growing into your fields and you're looking for the type of work that's going to fill your soul and what you're going to do, know that every decision you make can impact somebody else by something very simple like a donation or a conversation with a friend that might be able to give to these organizations. So yes, send money. Thanks.
Perfect. Well, and for us at Heart of Florida United Way, people know our brand. We've got that brand awareness because we are one of the largest, one of the oldest nonprofit organizations. But I think for us, we do so many things. So we really take pride in the fact that we bring all of the other nonprofit organizations together to create a cause. We believe that you can't just look at one individual and say, okay, well, they need food, so we'll give them food, they're fine. But maybe they don't have housing. Maybe they're living in a not such a good situation. And so we have to look at an individual as a whole. And so we put on the table and we bring experts like yourselves with partner agencies, and we bring them all together because we believe in living united, right? But sometimes that's difficult because not only do we deliver programs and we invest in the community, but we convene for them. So we have our hands in a lot of different areas, and that becomes a challenge for us. So we are always looking for talent, especially talent that's here at Full Sail. We could use storytellers. We could use technology gurus. That is something that is, I think, hard to kind of find in the world of philanthropy. We're not always the flashiest place to go, but I'm telling you, we can do some really incredible, impactful moments. And I was at a speaking engagement a couple weeks back, and in fact, it was the CEO of the Dr. Phillips Performing Center, and she said, every great city is built upon philanthropy. And I really believe that. If you look at the cities that are thriving and growing, they really start with philanthropists, and they're the ones that have their names on the buildings, and they're the ones that are creating and starting these paths. So we need each and every one of you to join us in this movement and live united. So, all right, wonderful. What is one piece of advice you would give to someone starting out in philanthropy?
I would say make a connection to something you're passionate about, and it may start as volunteering, but if you find an organization that you're passionate about and want to be involved with, there's always an entry point. That organization is likely looking, as we say, we're looking to grow our family. So they're looking for a way for you to get involved. You just have to find it and build from there.
I would say really identify what skills you want to bring to the table, right? I mean, it's been mentioned so many times that we need your talent, we need your skill, and that's how you can help us grow our programs. And so if you're looking for a way to get involved, identify what are the skills. Is it graphic design? Is it videography? Whatever it could be, and offer that, right? I get the chance to sit down with college students every single day interviewing for our program, and so many of them say, I just want to help people, but I don't know how. And so it's sorting through identifying, is it finance? Is it business? Because we can use those, and we need those. And so just because you think your skill set may not exist in the philanthropy nonprofit world, I promise you it does, and we need it. And so bring that.
I know I'll share something that it was happening at my office just as I left, which is, we've talked about the importance of storytelling. Typically, the way you'll connect with a mission is you hear about a real person who has a challenge, and now they have a positive outcome, and they want to celebrate it with you. So I have two members of my team. One is an intern who we just converted to a paid employee, and then our established communications manager, and they're doing kind of a StoryCorps project with the folks who work at Lighthouse Works and with our clients at Lighthouse Central Florida. And we have some questions, but we're really just letting them talk and tell their story. And then later this summer, another one of our interns is going to help us edit these so we can use them in social media, so we can show them at a program, that we can archive them. We're putting together some blogs. So you can imagine part of the runaround in the office was, who's going to shoot it? What are we going to shoot it on? How are we going to edit it? What platforms are we going to use? What's going to look the best? And even though most of our constituents are visually impaired, we still have to care about how something sounds, how something looks, the message that we're giving. So, honestly, we probably should have come here and said, hey, can we pull some students to come and make this happen? But those are the tools, those are the foundations for great philanthropy. Because, like I said, the one-to-one is difficult to make happen. So I can go visit an amazing foundation and their board and show this beautiful video. And now they've met that client and they understand. They've heard the story themselves.
Wonderful. That's perfect.
I would say find something you love that feeds your soul, keeps you healthy, and makes you money.
I love that.
Right? The three things that will help you be successful in life that I can tell you I've learned is that I want to make money, I want to feed my soul and help others, and I need to stay healthy to take care of myself. You're welcome.
Love that. Love that. All right, so before we open it up for questions from the audience, I just wanted to ask one final fun question since we are at an entertainment school. We'll start with Megan. What is your favorite movie to watch right now, or Netflix or Hulu, whatever you want to binge? What are you loving right now?
Currently, right now, I just finished Stranger Things, and I wept like a baby at that last episode. So that's current, but always a Stranger Things dance, but heroes forever, you know?
Love it, love it.
I just finished the series Lucifer from Jerry Bruckheimer. Love that. Oh, yeah, I love that show. I actually really love the story behind it. Wasn't what I was expecting, but I am a huge movie buff. I couldn't possibly pick every movie I love in every series, but one of my absolute favorite movies that tops the list is The Count of Monte Cristo with Jim Caviezel. I think I said the right name. It's an amazing movie. Love, hate, revenge, money, war, mission. I mean, everything you want is in one film. Go see it. It's great. Get on Netflix.
Well, I think because my oldest son is a director of photography in Los Angeles, and his most recent feature film's called Bullitt County. It's streaming on Netflix, so please take a look. So I have to say that one as a loyal mom. But because both of my sons are in the industry, and we watched a lot of movies over the years, them growing up, and now they're always sending me, watch this. But there are a few classics that I think are very cool. I don't know if you all remember Chocolat. Johnny Depp, and just very romantic and spiritual and soulful. And then I think from a movie making standpoint, and I'm just a huge fan, Contact has that famous scene with the mirror.
Very nice. Sean?
Front of mind for me right now is Star Wars, especially with Galaxy's Edge opening. I have not been there yet, but that's one of my favorite series, so yeah.
All right, lately for me, I have not been doing movies, which I love movies, but I haven't been, but I'm all about binging. And I think the two series that I'm loving is Handmaid's Tale. Yes, totally. Love the red all the way. And of course, Game of Thrones, except I'm a little sad with the ending. But I love Game of Thrones. I'll always be a Khaleesi fan. So, yay! All right. So, with that being said, we're going to turn the time over to our audience for a couple of questions. So, anybody have any questions for us or our panelists?
I have an online question from Samantha. She's an online student with her game design program. She would like to know, how do you really know that philanthropy is your career?
You know, that's a great question. In fact, I've sat around a lot of roundtables, and I don't know if you ever truly pick philanthropy. I know for me, I kind of landed in the world of philanthropy. I am a product of United Way. I have a story. My dad was extremely abusive. I ran across the country with my brother and my mother, and we hid out, and United Way was there to help us. And so because of the programs that they offered, I was able to get my bachelor's degree and my master's degree and kind of live the most normal life that you can from something like that. So I knew that I needed to give back in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I didn't really choose to go into philanthropy. My heart kind of led me there, and I have loved every minute of it. So, yeah.
Research what you want to be doing. I think, agree to your point, Rebecca, that maybe you fall into it, but I think with the opportunities and the information that's available today, you can decide what you truly want to be doing. And there are plenty of mentors out there that can help you support that. So if you're interested in a few buckets of things, reach out to people who can help and answer questions for you before you make any of those final decisions, because then you'll truly feed your soul with what you want to be doing for a long-term career.
All right, I think we're ready for the next one.
Hey, Jordan Bramlett with Entertainment Business. Hi, all. Thank you guys so much for your time with the panel today. My question is, I've come here to pursue video games, and it's been video games since I've gotten here. But you guys have done it. You've hooked me. I want to know more about this field. Could you guys each speak to how your company works with the video game industry, or maybe how you guys are looking for something within that industry, or any kind of connection? Sorry for moving the mic. But.
we actually have a great direct connection to gaming. And if you've spent any time in the marketing world, gamification has become a big deal, even in market research. So continue and stay. I love the pure narrative and the pure gaming, but you can also do gaming for good. So 2 examples at Lighthouse Works in Lighthouse Central Florida. One of our software developers, we do digital accessibility audits for digital equality. It's part of ADA. But the software developer in that space, he is low vision, and every year whenever we're doing any fundraising, he creates a new game and sells it, and they're always fully accessible, whether you can see or not see. There's a group called Blindfold Games, and they're basically games for people who are visually impaired. There's also something new, and it's actually launching this month. We were the first agency in the US to have children use this game. It's called Code Jumper. It was developed by a Microsoft executive in London whose son is blind, and she thought, what am I going to do? How is he going to have a career? What's going to happen? So they've developed a tactile game that is accessible, and it's equal playing field, whether you can see or you can't see. And the children put together, it's almost like Legos and pods, and depending upon how they connect the different pods, they can make the video game do something. Play a song, make a little person that, walks across, whatever they want to do. We got the trial. We had about a dozen kids trying it, ages, I would say, about kindergarten through 5th grade. When they were all done, they were in the kitchen having their snack, and I said, what do you guys think, 1 to 10? And they're like, 12, 15. But what was so amazing about it was they already have all of those tools in place. So games are what make us feel good and make us feel comfortable, and that makes us want to overcome our challenges, right? So I would highly encourage you to stay in that space.
Absolutely, and I'll follow up with that. This morning I was actually doing a presentation with SunTrust and some of their main executives, and we were working through a game platform online that's called our ALICE game. So ALICE stands for Assets Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. And if none of you know, 50% of our community here in Central Florida is 1 paycheck away from financial devastation. So those are the people that we target at Heart of Florida United Way. And I utilize games to engage my investors, to engage my donors, and we need more of those that really showcase what our communities are struggling with, to make them feel what families what questions they have to ask every day, whether it's I have to pay rent or I need to buy a life-threatening medication. So I very much am behind gaming and the talents that you could bring to us. So, okay. Next question.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Badum. I'm in the entertainment business program, and I guess my question is more for Megan. I'm actually from Nigeria, and I ended up here in America through an organization sort of like this too, as a refugee. But in the area I'm from, there's a little bit resistance when it comes to these kind of organizations where people are afraid or not as welcoming in a society like that because of things they've heard. They're always saying they're getting duped, their money or the food or their resources being donated don't get where they need to end up at. So how do you guys kind of deal with that or counteract that or enter into new emerging areas?
Yeah, that is a great question. And that is one that we have definitely had to explore. And that's where our partnerships come in. We asked ourselves in the beginning, do we want to be the people that come in with our big flag and say, we're feeding children everywhere, here's food, we're here to save the day, right? No, we want to be the ones who are partnering with local organizations on the ground that have trust with the people who live there, that have the right resources for the people that live there, and we want to partner with them. And so that has been how we've partnered in those communities, because that's never worked for us before. Exactly what you said, of this new group out of nowhere that comes in and wants to give out this free food. What's the catch, right? And so for us to really build those partnerships, and we know that's the best way to double our impact for sure, is through local partnerships and distribution.
And to follow up with that, you can go online at charitynavigator.com, and they'll actually basically rate different nonprofit organizations and say whether or not they're following through with those initiatives and the ROIs, and they're really utilizing those investments in the most proper places. And yeah, so it's a great place to follow up with. All right. Do we have time for another question?
We do.
All right. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Mecca White. I'm in the Entertainment Business Master Program. Now, one question that I have for each and every one of you, and I don't want to answer that just sounds good, what is one mistake, well, one big mistake that you all individually learned from so that any of us here embarking on the same journey will not have to go through and repeat?
In life or in work or in
general,
relationships? What are we talking about?
In general.
Which part?
Well, I mean, well, both kind of business and personal, just how do you, like, because we all go through adversity, but what did you guys learn? That way we, won't go through that. We can learn from your mistake.
That's really good. That's a great question. That's like duped me.
Yep. Thinking.
All right, I'll start off. Be hungry. Be hungry and be confident in yourself. I think that's a thing that I struggle with a lot. I look younger than I am. I'm actually in my 30s, and a lot of people are like, what? And sometimes I think, like, being from Utah, I'm kind of from a world that's still in the 50s. Sometimes I let myself, the fact that I'm a female, kind of hold me back sometimes. So I would say just be hungry. In fact, when I got on the project that I worked with on the movie Haunt, I went to one of my connections when I just graduated and moved back to Utah, because I knew I'd worked with the Sundance Film Festivals and I knew I wanted to get back into film and try it. And I reached out to one of my professors in my undergrad and I said, hey, I just need a job. I want to try film. Where do I go for this? And he handed me a phone number and he said, just call. Right? And I called this guy named Mac and I was like, okay, I don't know who this is. I didn't do research. That was bad on my part. I just called him and said, hey, I'm a student. I just graduated from Full Sail. I was a little cocky at the time and was like, just hire me. And he's like, do you have any idea who you're talking to? And he was like an Oscar award-winning set designer. I had no idea. Luckily, knowing that I was young and new in my career, he said, come on in, we'll do an interview. They told me no, but I was just so hungry and I followed up and I stayed on that lead that they ended up creating a position for me a week later and I got on the film set. So just don't be too cocky. Do your research and stay hungry.
For me, I didn't know I was going to share this one. In 2000, when I graduated, I had a job for my first couple years out of college, and then the recession hit, and then I said, I'm just going to go to New York City. And I took off, and I did have some friends there and found a job, but it wasn't paying nearly what I needed in order to make it in the city. And I made it 3 months and came right back here. And I think what brought me back here is that I had the network here that could help me find my next opportunity, which we've talked about. But I needed to take off and learn that on my own. So I think I learned a lot from it. But today I would never do it again. I think I would need to do the research and know what I was getting myself into before I took off like that.
I think I will say, and like I said, I started my career in a very different world than we're experiencing today, but is to always be confident, not let your emotions get the best of you in a business situation. I think it's one thing that I've seen that my male colleagues, whether they're feeling it or not, I don't know how genuine it is be confident, know you can do it, don't doubt yourself, and really don't let your emotions take you. I even had an HR manager chat with me the other day about an employee that we have that's a feeler, and every time she talked about, it's a feeler, like that this is a negative. So you do want to feel it and be emotional and have it feed your soul, but don't let those feelings pull you into something that takes you away from doing your job really well, because it's definitely going to taint how you're perceived. And can you be elevated and can you handle it when the going gets tough? So I'd say that would be a really important thing. How you're perceived is how you're going to be moved forward.
I think it's totally okay to be vulnerable. I think it's the one piece that connects us as humans. I've done a lot of research on this and the type of role that I'm in because I was hired to support a company to rebuild their culture. And a lot of what was missing was the fact that people aren't vulnerable enough to connect with each other, to tell each other how they feel, to be truthful and honest. I believe it's important to have your shields when you need to have them. Some things that I personally struggle with, that I still struggle with, are I need to be a better listener, and I need to be more patient. And as I get older, I'm getting better at those. But I spend more time on developing myself now than I did when I was younger. And it was because I was so hungry that I wanted to learn about everything that I could, every chance I had a moment to do it. I'm also the baby of four kids, so it's really challenging to see your siblings grow up and become successful stuntmen and costume designers and be in New York on Broadway and those types of things. And I wanted that too. But my time was coming. It just wasn't when I wanted it. So know that that will happen for you. Love yourself. Keep loving the dream, what you want to be doing. You will be successful. It just takes some time. So be patient in the work that you're doing and knowing it's going to make a difference later in your career.
Yeah, some of the best advice that was given to me that I've definitely found myself made mistakes in is to not always just rely on your natural talent, right? Like keep growing, keep learning, keep pushing. Don't just think that you can ride that wave forever, because one day you'll get too confident, you'll get too prideful. Your ego is half the size of what it should be, right? And that's when we really mess up. That's when we make mistakes. That's when we're not learning from the other leaders around us, developing great teams. And so always just grow your talent. Never ride that wave as long as you can. Keep growing, keep learning is one of the biggest things that I've learned for sure.
Yeah. And to follow up with that, know that the professionals that you're going to work out there with in the industry, whether they're celebrities or they're not, they're people too. And they are so approachable. And like I said, with that personal brand, it's really cool to get to work with celebrities and see how chill they really are. So just be that.
Okay. On behalf of Full Sail University, thanks for everything that you guys do out in the community. And hopefully we can support you in the future. So thank you, and thanks for coming today.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thanks for having us.